Hello guys and welcome to my channel. Today we're going to be performing the ultimate service. We are going to rate the thickness, aka how crunk you might be in the trunk, for each and every Street Fighter 6 character. This analysis will be important for years to come, so make sure you stick around to the end. You're not going to want to miss these heinies. We'll start with Kimberly, one of the newest characters added to the roster. Though she has the muscular body of an Amazon goddess, we aren't seeing a lot of thickness going on here. Let's go ahead and take a look at that backside. And to my surprise, there's a small amount of thickness going on in that caboose, but not enough to stand up to the competition of our next characters. We're gonna place Kimberly in D tier. Next up on our heiny list, we've got Cammy. Now Cammy is obviously thick all around. Just look at those protruding abs and succulent neck muscles. These combined are of well thickness, but what's going on with that behind? Wow. Woo! God damn! Now those cheeks made me glad my webcam is off. Those are as round of a pair of fuzzy buns can come. Although the thickness is there, I do believe she could put on a couple more pounds. Place this girl in C tier. Chun-Li is next up, and holy cow, look at those thighs, boy. Now I do believe the amount of thickness in the calves has been significantly reduced in Street Fighter 5, which can be seen as a disappointment for some. However, those thighs have greatly increased in overall thickness since the last iteration. So let's take a look at what's cracking in that back end and make our final judgment. Now that is the definition of thickness. That is one gluteus minimus that's got me ravenous for maximum derriere. S tier. If you disagree with me, I don't really give a shit, but let me know in the comments below so I can hear all your thoughts on the thickness of these characters. Alright, now we're traveling over to our good friend DJ over here. Homie is ripped as fuck and does not tuck. Though he is generally thick all around, when we peer to see that rear, we're only met with disappointment. No thickness of the abs and thighs can make up for the non-thickness of that ass. Place this man's in E tier. Next up is your boy Dalsum. As you can see, Dalsum is the absolute opposite of thickness. Your boy could fit through a keyhole. You could argue that his thighs and calves are indeed plump, but the homie never reveals that tush. The lack of tush reveal and the obvious signs of being a fucking alien grants this floating noodle dick the very first spot on F tier. A failure of a tail end. Carrying on to the big man E Honda. This man does seem to possess a large meatball-like frame which can boost his angles in the competition of Breach. He has strong eyes and thick thighs, but what about that posterior? Oh my fucking god. That is absolutely unacceptable! A man of this weight and absolute thickness should not contain such a flatwood excuse of a heiny. There is clearly no definition of curve in that southern region. The lack of dairy in the air has me sad for the lack of rump on the court. He'll be joining D tier, but only because of that meatball frame. Our next specimen is going to be this big old guy, Guile. Not only is this man's thickness on point in his biceptial muscles, but he takes thickness to an entire new level with his hair. Guile's hair alone gives him a huge advantage when examining those soft bumps and supple lumps. But what are we working with in that undercarriage? Oof. Oof. Now I gotta say I was expecting more in those nether regions. How could you be so lumpy but not have a dumpy? Homie's placed in B tier. Moving on to our next athlete, we have Jamie stepping up to the plate. Now Jamie may look thick with his defined abs and muscle structure, but just because someone has muscle definition does not make them a thick master. I will reserve my doubts, however, and check out his caboose before cutting him loose. Ouch! What a disappointment. That flapjack pancake looking ass resembles Sir E Honda, whom we were deeply saddened to see his lack of a keister. Jamie may have booty definition, but there's nothing in his definition that describes thickness. Even though Jamie has no thick booty, I will give him points for remaining so jacked. Place the skinny mini in E tier. Who have we got here? A perfect gentleman named JP. Thiccness. I hope JP actually stands for Jemima's pussy because these muscles are so thick that they make syrup look dry. Now, even though that sentence didn't make any sense, I stand firm in my judgment on this gentleman's pectoral muscles and corn dog thighs. He clearly spends time in the gym holding a cup of tea with only his nutsack. But what about the breach? Since we're working with the gentleman, it's going to be hard to see that backside. But if we pay attention to this move, we can see a generally thick haunch. There is indeed enough ass to give it a pass. B tier, boy. Now, I am personally a huge Jury fan. I know there's gonna be a bunch of people in the comments blasting me away for being a foot lover, and you know what? You're right. Eat my balls. Despite me being a Jury main and a huge feet guy, I will not pass judgment lightly. As we all can see here, there has just been a massive decrease in overall thickness in comparison to the Jury from Street Fighter V. What we have here is a slim woman with some small thick features around her entire body, and there is just not a big enough bump to support that rump. A sad perspective we have gained. Jury is still mega hot though, and I bet under those magnificent clothes is a wonderfully tight and thick woman. And yes, I am biased. Place my girl in C tier. A blast from the past to give us some ass. We have a wonderfully thick Ken here. Extra points for the absolute dominance of his thick bushy brow to hide the scowl when he's getting plowed. Though this judgment will be short, as Ken's new outfit sadly hides whatever apple bottom he may have had back there. Due to the overall thickness of his entire body though, we'll place him kindly in B tier. Okay, next up we got... Wait. How the fuck old is this bitch? We're not doing this one. Next, the man, the legend, the one whose forearm's thickness is grander than any tush I could achieve. Luke here is a man of thick. He dedicates his life to thick. Just look at those damn forearms. They could crush your entire body. I would go through living hell for 28 days and nights just for a 10% chance to sniff this character's ass. The thighs, traps, and arms are all of peak thickness levels. That ass though, it is not popping as much as I would like it to. It is unfortunate that Luke does not serve cake. However, the sheer thickness of his forearms must be where all that gluteus went. Because of this, we'll be placing Luke at B tier. Alright, now we have Blanca. I'm not really interested in this character since he looks like just a giant green monkey gorilla looking person. Our green friend here has an obvious thick level to him. Blanca brings not only thickness but green thickness to the party, just like the green eggs and ham. However, those buns are not toasty, so we're just gonna go ahead and place him right away in B tier. Oh my lord! Now this character might heavily resemble Sid the Sloth, but holy fucking Rocky Mountain Canary. Manon here is a top tier thick character. What she lacks in calf thickness is clearly made up for the sheer force of buns and bust. Manon does not need a very thorough investigation as her thickness is clear, apparent, and bussin'. Manon proudly sits on C tier. Marissa is someone we can compare to the thickness of the Hulk, as the character is clearly thick around the entire body. Even though we cannot see that ass, we will in fact give it a pass. A tier for the homegirl. Back to an OG character, we have a very defined Ryu. Now we could argue that his thickness is only because of his muscles. Ryu trains so hard that my own asshole tears from just thinking about it. Now that Ryu has stepped up to the plate, let's check his mount. Now that's a disappointing fundament coming from such a ripped man. We will let his points increase slightly due to the thickness of his feet, arms, and thighs. D tier. We are finally at the end of our journey landing on Zangief. This man is the ultimate thickness when it comes to Street Fighter 6. Out of all the male fighters we have seen today, they have all had one thing and not the other. Zangief sits on this notion, coming up on top with a grand thickness around his entire body. Even that booty has got me fruity. Zangief earns an honorary place next to Chun-Li in S tier. That is it for my bootylicious thickness rating video of Street Fighter 6 characters. Thank you for making it all the way till the end. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you lick that like button and sit on the subscribe. Till next time.